Currently, Nigeria is experiencing a severe economic decline where inflation is high, basic needs are expensive and unaffordable for the common person. Over 60% of the population now lives in poverty. In all of this, women are hit the hardest.
The economic situation of the country has left an increasing gap or a growing gap in the access to healthcare services, especially for women and girls in rural and low income areas. This in turn means delayed care, mismanaged complications, and in most cases, preventable deaths for women and girls in the hard to reach communities because even the delayed care is not affordable to them. And I think that this has been made worse by the increasing immigration of medical doctors or medical professionals for better opportunities at a time where they are particularly needed for maternal and reproductive health services of women and girls. This is just an healthcare problem, it's an economic and developmental crisis because the healthcare of women and girls should be a priority. And if we're not doing that, that means we're not just losing doctors, we're losing lives and the sustainability of our communities.
In both formal and informal education spaces in Nigeria, the rate at which girls are dropping out of school is alarming. About 10.5 million children are out of school, even when education is free and compulsory for them, according to UNICEF. Some leave secondary school, others stop learning the basic skills like tailoring, hairdressing. Some even stop learning at their literacy community centers in their various community. And this is as a result of high cost of living in Nigeria as of today. Their family cannot keep up. Even when the government launched student loan program, this program could not even girls to girls, especially those in rural areas and informal learning setting. This is as a result of access and awareness is very low. From what I have seen on the field and discussion with their teachers as a monitoring and evaluation officer, most of these girls are forced into early marriages, house chores, petty trading. Some are even walking around the streets of Nigeria with little hope of these girls returning back to any form of learning. The future of these girls, the country's economy is at serious risk because a generation where there is no education means we have weaker workforce, more poverty, and slower national growth.
The economic downtime of the country has made access to many basic things look like luxury for many families, especially those led by women. This harsh reality leaves women and girls exposed to many violence, as even their purchasing power reduces because they're not able to afford, or what they earn is not able to afford or even feed, the family.
Okay, so we're having a conversation around women's economic empowerment, and then unfortunately, women's economic empowerment has been on the decline in Nigeria. And then there's quite a number of factors, and I know my colleagues have touched on them, but I'd quickly look at make some recommendations. I think that as a matter of urgency, there should be a census in Nigeria. The last one was in 2006. Since that time, many young people have more children in society. There are more people who have reached employment levels. We do not know those numbers, and if we do not have these numbers, then it will be very difficult for us to plan effectively for an economy that includes everyone. I also think that the inflation rate is problematic. It's just been in the last let's say in the last 1 year, the inflation has really been high, and that's not far-fetched. So for instance, what do we produce as Nigeria? I think that we should go back to where we were before. 20 years ago, I do know that Nigeria was really a productive society. In the north, we had granite pyramids, and in the east, we had the coal mines, and then in the southwest, I think we had cocoa. But these things actually have now become history, and that it's then not difficult to understand why our inflation is really high. We are not a producing nation; we are just a consumption nation. We do not produce as little as toothpicks, and that's really rather a problem. And then also I think in the recent times we've seen how more girls are out of school, how girls do not complete their education, and then the kind of education that we have, if you do not have much of an education, it's difficult to survive in our economy. And then also in some instances, some governments have prioritized vocational education. But the thing is that who's actually, taking into consideration those vocational studies, how it's impacted beneficiaries, the products that they make, where is it sold, who buys them, what's the standards, and so if we just keep, thinking that girls could go and learn how to make hair, girls to learn cosmetics and all that, we need to also understand what comes out, from these interventions or from the things that they're learning from vocational centers. And so you will see that girls are really and women are still very poor, irrespective of the fact that we are also looking at other forms of livelihood. And then also, health has become very, very expensive in Nigeria. Even our small healthcare centers, charge a lot. People who are on our minimum wage of 70,000 can actually not afford, treatment in some of the health centers. If people or family of four fall ill like 3 times in a month, their income is gone. And then also we notice that many healthcare providers are fleeing the country. That means that we have shortage of nurses, we have shortage of doctors. That means that the few that are here, is not enough to go around, and then that also makes it really, really difficult for women to access healthcare. And as we know, health is wealth. So our government actually needs, as a matter of urgency, find ways, to cushion the effect of poverty as they affect women and girls. And also, that women, we have a reproductive role that nature has put on us. And what happens is that when we are playing this role, women are shortchanged. So women have to go on maternity, leave work, and then that gives men opportunity to rise above them. We also need to see how, women are not punished for the reproductive role that they play. And then, of course, I'm from Southeast Nigeria. There's still difficulty of women inheriting properties. And if you cannot inherit properties, it means that you're, definitely might remain poor. So our governments also need to have very stringent laws that makes it compulsory, for women to inherit. Women cannot access credit. Most of the time, you need property to be able to access credit. And if you don't own properties, then it's really difficult for you to move from micro to macro development. So our government, and this is a plea, we're calling upon our government to ensure that we have equal playing space for women and girls and men, to thrive in society.